How does design make you feel? You probably don't even realize how it makes you feel, but if you go into the old store of, say, a Nando's, and you go into a new store, do you even notice that there's been a difference? Has there been a refresh, a twist, or has there been a complete rethink as the way in which the stores are laid out? Apple, for example, is renowned for making some of the sleekest devices in the world. You would have seen the launch of the iPhone 6 recently. But it's not just about the launch of the phone itself, the physical object. It's also about how the object exists in an environment. You go into a shop. How do you react to that particular device in a particular environment? Sales at Apple did shoot up when the environment changed. This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield, and tonight we look at how much design and product placement can influence your buying habits, and clever retailers are employing the services of professionals in this field. Joining me is one of those professionals. His name is Callie. He is Chief Executive of the Design Partnership. You've done Nando's, you've done Incredible Connection, you've done a number of stores, and it's all about refresh, refurb, rethink, and challenge the old, I guess, all the time.
Sure. So a lot of what we look at is how people behave intuitively, naturally. A lot of studies done by Paco Underhill in the States, environmental psychology calls it, are those kind of things that people do naturally. So when we look at a design, we first and foremost kind of start with those kind of things. Like in South Africa, for example, a good example is we move clockwise. We enter left because we drive on the left, and we move clockwise through a space. In the States,
so if I go to a counter, yes, there's going to be a natural flow
from left to right.
From left to right.
Correct. So product placement as well, we move from left to right. You observe from left to right. So ideally, you place the most expensive product to the left and move to the cheaper to the right, because your eye naturally moves to the left. So yeah, a lot of those things are quite intuitive. You need to understand those kind of basics. The kind of decompression zone in the front of the store, where people kind of don't really want to get into or over. Once you got them over that hurdles to get into the back of the store, the kind of beer in the back of the fridge, those kind of little things that get people to kind of engage with the product more.
If I go to an electronic shop, the TVs are at the back. They're flashing, they're showing images, they're drawing me in to that experience.
And they're more aspirational, so you want to get people to the back, like the milk in the back of a Woolies, or the fresh meat, or those kind of subtleties that get people to move through most of the product. So you would get, say, a TV that's the latest and greatest, maybe to the front of the store to deal with the decompression area. And then the rest, all those other aspirational things right at the back. So
explain the decompression, because surely when I go into the store, I'm in, you've got me.
Yes and no. So there's an area in the front where you can easily kind of turn around still. Kind of the threshold is not really just where the door is. So you'll kind of walk in and kind of make a decision on whether the store draws you or not. And if you don't succeed in getting people kind of through the front third or quarter, you probably won't keep them.
What are the biggest turnoffs? What causes? Because I know I do it. I don't know why I do it, but I'm kind of in a frame of mind. I want to look at a particular piece of gadgetry, for example. And I walk into a store, and I just won't feel like it anymore. What is that switch off?
There's no one silver bullet. There's a couple of things. So, for example, the lighting. The lighting needs to be a certain lux or certain type. Electronics, there's a reflection on the screen, so you need to be careful. Then with things like
if it's
color,
too busy, it pushes me out. If it's not busy enough, it's I get disengaged.
And a lot of what you need to kind of consider when you design, and we kind of, there's no kind of holy grails. We will engage with the client or ask those uncomfortable questions around the training of staff. So that's if the staff's on top of you too quickly, it puts you off. But not at all, it puts you off as well. So there's subtleties in every, like Nike, for example, they know that if you can get a product in the guy's hands, there's a 60% chance that they would buy it. There's that, so they kind of guide you carefully. And also what they do very well is that they don't leave you, so the product comes via electronic system to you. So they sit with you, they engage with you, they never leave your side, because that one-on-one is what's required. Once it's broken, the chances are that you will leave. So.
And South Africans particularly, it's even more important because we don't have a great retail sales culture. We don't have particularly forceful salespeople in
well,
South
yes and no. We have them in certain areas and we have them not so much in others. I think there's a lack of understanding of training here, particularly. I think there could be a lot more money spent. We just engaged with a client recently where, I'm not going to mention the name now, but where we really focused. We said, if you get the training right, and you get all those kind of the way you engage with the consumer. If you can get that, then we have a challenge on hand, then we can do the rest.
Yeah.
But before we have that, we have nothing really.
Take me through some design elements. You've brought us some pictures of Incredible Connection. Everyone knows Incredible Connection. It's owned by JD Group. It's probably one of the more successful elements of JD Group. Just let's have a look at some pictures of the before you got involved with the design process. There it is. Nice black roof, nice and bland, bright colors, primary colors, big screens, some fairly low level lighting. There it is. Let's pause there for a second and tell me what I'm seeing. Let's pause.
So I think they're one of the so what we do, what we love to do is we love to kind of we engage with the space without there being too much pressure on us. So we don't want anyone to know that we're engaging with the space. I have a partner, Yatish Narsi, particularly loves that angle of the business. He will get up in a kits with the CEO's permission and he'll work the floor for a week to understand how people engage with product, how staff engage with the consumer. And so one of the takeouts there were that, for example, that the area wasn't, that the commission structure was equal through the entire space. That led people to kind of lean more to the higher priced items and leaving the lower priced items void of.
So they try and sell the 10 grand items rather than moving 10 1 grand items.
And then things like you saw in that picture, there's a visual clutter and a visual noise.
But it looks busy. It looks as if it just. I feel as if I'm constrained. Let's move on then and to where it has changed. If we go and look at some of the after shots now, and we go through that process, that's still toward the end of before.
That's after. That's after. We can pause there. One of those.
Yeah, let's pause and have a look there. I mean, it's open, it's brighter, it's lighter, and everything's moved down a level. You put all the products down.
Well, so one of the things, there are so many things to talk about, but let's just pause on that for a minute. So one of the things that we do know, how people engage, when you eat at a dinner table, you engage with the product, you touch everything. So you're hardwired to want to touch things on a table, less hardwired to touch things that are hanging. So you try and put things on a table. Apple got it right beautifully. But then slavishly, people copied that aesthetic without understanding that Apple has it's really one product or maybe two products, and the SKUs limit to maybe 5 or 6. And the table is the great equalizer. And the table invites you to move closer, put your feet under, engage. On a table is multiple products of the same kind of thing. Whereas everything else in another store, the SKUs are too many. But now people copy like Cell C did it, and not very successfully, because the way you then engage with multiple SKUs on that table is quite different. So what we did over here is we made different heights, different levels, and different colors. So different products could pop as different products, to understand that. In addition, the benchmarking on products electronic is of course quite easy, and you can go on your phone quite quickly. Fashion is a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
So we lifted the fashion, so bags, sleeves for phones, or your iPad, or your computer. Those are fashion items, difficult to benchmark. So we lifted them to become more prominent, outposted them, created areas for them specifically.
Okay, now, before and after, what happened with sales?
So we were quite bullish about this, and I have a Marco van Niekerk, the CEO there. We've had a fantastic run with him, and we were quite bullish about it. So we linked our fees to the sales, to the increase in sales. So we said they could pay us 50%, and 50% would be based on a 10% lift. Now, it is, of course, difficult to measure exactly like for like because the retail landscape has changed so much. We're having that meeting soon. I think it'll be difficult to kind of really unearth the real numbers, but they performed quite well. He's given me some numbers which look fantastic against the retail landscape that's out there. So this, the strategy around this design has worked tremendously well.
It's benchmarking, I suppose, sales pre the refurbs and sales after the refurbs, but then you've also got to try and do a comparison across other retailers, because if all ships are
100%.
rising, suddenly we've had a bit of an economic spurt with civil servants getting extra 10% increases or whatever the case might be. Then everybody's benefiting. Then it's not about design, it's about an economic boat.
And also it's quite important to that's exactly right, to measure like on like. You can't compare V&A to Fourways, for example. You've got it. So we've taken 3 stores, pre and post revamp, like for like, and as I said, we're having that.
But it's a confidence thing. I mean, you guys are confident enough that design matters so much that you will tie your remuneration to it. You will risk remuneration on that basis.
Well, there's a fantastic example here. Standard & Poor top 500. there's a study done by a Boston-based research company recently where they indicated that in the last 10 years, the companies that were design-driven outperformed the non-design-driven by 228%. That's a massive number. Comes like Nike and Apple and Starbucks, Coca-Cola, design-driven businesses. So that's the next frontier, because everybody has exactly the same access to everything.
Yeah.
It's tweaking that thing to really be in the heart of...
Give me a minute on Nando's, please, because also I get a sense that Nando's has gone through a massive refurb, but it's still Nando's. It's just different.
Look, this is a company that we love. They have 1,000 stores.
Worldwide?
Worldwide, 1,000 stores in over 30 countries. They just recently relaunched the head office as a kind of central kitchen in Lawrenceville, where they originated from back in the day. It is the most inspiring space to be in. They've really tapped into what will make people want to be here longer and produce better and just love things more. You can influence it by volume and lighting and design and finishing and texture and tonalities. And they apply that. If you look at Robbie Brosnan and Trudy van Niekerk, they really push that envelope they understand that design, and they're throwing tremendous amounts of money, similarly to what Starbucks have done. Starbucks closed down 2,000 of their 20,000 stores that were not design driven, and they're almost trying to unbrand the brand to make it local. The local haunt,
but that's also interesting, because I go to a Nando's in the United Kingdom. It's more stainless steel. Correct. It's cleaner. It's sharper. 100%. Here, it's a little bit more oldie
African and they have a fantastic program here as well. They tie into local artists. They support. They have an artist program. They train them. So being design focused as a frontier, I think that's one of the few companies. And they export, fantastic export business for that kind of thinking locally. That they demand good design. Don't go there with a half-baked solution. They will quickly tell you that.
I really look forward to finding out whether or not you made a big difference with Incredible Connection. Callie van der Merwe, the high-flying, high-risk kind of guy, the chief executive of Design Partnership. It's fascinating. Next time you go into a shop and you make a purchasing decision, did you make that decision, or did Callie van der Merwe make it for you in the design process? Thank you for watching. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow. Till then, good night.